Hello everyone, in today's video we're gonna talk about the game between Magnus Carlsen and Alireza Firouzja. Right now team event takes place in London, I believe, where top players participate in it, like Magnus Carlsen, Vishay Anand, Hikaru Nakamura, and many others. Team consists of 6 players. One is the icon, 2 men, 2 women boards, and 1 youngster, some sort of junior player. And on the first board, Magnus Carlsen faced Alireza Firouzja. Time control is extremely weird. Because it's 20 minutes without any increment. It reminds me, I don't know, my childhood or university times, where we played without increment on mechanical clocks. So yeah, let's see how it happened, because the most interesting part will be in the end, so try to watch the game until then. Probably many of you already know what this is about, but let's see the game. So what is it about? Magnus played d4, and it was, for now, some Queen's Gambit declined. Right now it's Slav, really weird transformations, but this is a Slav setup. And Magnus decided to play g3 in some sort of Catalan style, trying to give up a pawn, get the center for it, build up an attack, and try to capitalize on it. Firouzja plays dc, which is the main move right here. Many continuations, being greedy, defending the pawn with b5, developing the bishop, developing the knight. But yeah, normally it's either b5 or knight bd7. Alireza choosing knight bd7. Magnus plays a4 to prevent b5, bishop e7, castle. Both of the players do not spend much time. Magnus plays a5 to prevent any b5 push. Pretty nice move. Later on, maybe we can even play queen a4, trying to grab the pawn. So black right now without space. Knight d5 is played, trying to centralize the knight. So nothing scary yet. And here Magnus plays h4. Really watched a lot of videos probably with AlphaZero, but this is actually quite typical idea for a Catalan after engines evolved. Idea is that somewhere we might play right here, but even more frequently it is used with some knight g5 ideas, trying to build up some attack. So move is kinda multitasking over here. Alireza spent a minute and he decided to play bishop b4, which totally makes sense. He tries to attack the pawn. Some b pushes also were possible, but I guess Magnus was prepared for it, and he would after establish some piece on g5 or knight or bishop, because trading bishop for white, it would be quite a good idea, because there are many holes in the camp of black, so we'd like to use it. Bishop b4, Magnus plays bishop g5, trying to ask where the queen would go, baiting his opponent probably to go for f6, which was actually the best move. After bishop d2, black can very greedy take this pawn on a5, and after knight d5 in this trading operation, a computer says that it's around equal, but I like white's position more, because for a pawn, white has huge compensation, really lots of pawns in the middle potentially, and advantage on the king side, where we would most likely like to attack the king. Firouzja plays knight f6, queen c2, Magnus wants to play e4, so he reinforces the center. Bishop takes a5, so Carlsen already 2 pawns down, but here comes e4, which is a great move, because later on we have e5 opportunity. We're targeting the knight right now. In the game, bishop c3, bc, and knight 7 was played, so that the spin didn't work out. Magnus continues improving position, pieces, knight goes to e5, attacking the pawn, and in general knight looks amazing. b5 was played to defend this pawn, and right here Carlsen plays queen c1, totally reasonable human move. He spent some time right here. Idea is that later maybe we can create some attack. Queen f4 is available, but actually quite significantly stronger was to play queen e2. Move with absolutely similar idea, try to create an attack on the king side, but also prepare a bomb, because let's say if we play a5, trying to attack where we are stronger, white can play knight takes c6, and after knight takes e5, knight cannot defend another knight from the bishop attack, because we have a pin over there, and therefore After some bishop b7, we have amazing position with mating chances. h6 actually leads to a pretty funny line where white being one piece down has amazing attack, but everywhere queen e2 was better and it would be way harder to play for Alireza. But Magnus played queen c1 without spending much time, and right here probably for Firouzja counter-attacking was the best way, because right now this knight c6 idea doesn't work that smooth. Queen f4, there is knight g6, and even if we take on f6 and try to attack, king can go to the corner and knight is just in time to cover h6 square so that the queen couldn't come right here to create a combo and make the king on h8. So Alireza plays king h8 right here in this position, trying to hide from potential attacks, but actually it's probably decisive mistake right here. Magnus could almost have won or had absolutely huge advantage, because after knight c6 and the same tactics, after bishop b7, here comes cold h5 move. I don't know what to do after that, and it's really funny move because we're not taking the piece, which immediately we could do, but then we kind of lose all of our advantage because black stabilizes everything, consolidates, but after h5 it's not possible to do. There is no threat, but black cannot move. Like almost at Zugzwang, because some h6 will, let's say, take, queen h6, it's just mate after ef with the pawn wedge there. I don't know, some random rook e8 move. We can even play h6, damage this and attack this. So it's almost the end. But I don't know, maybe Carlsen didn't want to mess it up. He played queen f4 fairly fast. Alireza plays knight g8. Right now the square come in handy because the king moved to the corner. Knight c6, so Magnus takes one pawn back. And right here I don't like move that Carlsen played. He played queen d6, defending it. But then Alireza kind of fought back and managed to stabilize the situation. Instead, knight e5 was a great move, retaining pressure, continue having opportunities to attack on the king side, which probably corresponds more to the spirit of the position, but who am I to teach world champion? Queen d6 was played right here, e5. The knight right now is defended, another one is attacked, but it didn't stop Firouzja to take it. Rook d8, queen kind of trapped, so queen has to go for a trade, and trade here. Magnus one pawn down, but all the pawns are potentially hanging. There are plenty of pins in the position, and yeah, it's not simple to play for Firouzja, plus he's down on time. Rook c8 was probably the best move, trying to provoke some rook a6, because if bishop b7, rook c7, we're still not losing a piece on f6. And actually he could do h6 as he did in the game and got the same position, but a little bit boosted version, because we will have a fork right here, which is very hard detail to notice when you play without increment with 4 minutes on the clock. So he played h6. Magnus decided not to go for h3, even though it was a good defensive move. Knight d5 takes, so position simplifies, which kind of helps Alireza. And right here he needed to play correctly, bring the knight to the game, try to activate it, try to create some sort of blockade with his knights, not let white to advance. But he decided to play attacking move rook d4, which kind of makes sense. But after bishop a6, it turns out that c8 square is controlled by the bishop and this pawn is kind of invincible. And right now knight e7 already doesn't work because there will be the pin and most likely the knight will be lost. Therefore knight d5 was played, c6, knight goes to e7, bishop a3, and we can see the pleasure of having bishop pairs. These bishops are absolutely amazing. They control absolutely everything in this position. We're really close to promote the pawn. So rook e8 happened, rook c1, Magnus very close to promote it, knight c7, setting a blockade, bishop goes back, knight d5, bishop c5. So far everything looking logical. Magnus already one pawn up, bishop pair, so the game slowly moving to the victory of Carlsen. I mean, what could happen, right? He opens up the position, but here, first move that I dislike, he spent more than a minute on the move bishop h3, going right under knight b5. I don't understand why, let's say, not to play rook b7, use a prophylaxis, create pressure, because for Firouzja it's incredibly hard to play. You cannot play 1000 pre-moves right here to win. So, I mean, time trouble would matter. And Yeah, instead he started thinking, calculating, burning time, which led to complications. And when you up material, you need always to avoid messing up the position, because such situation like in this game can happen. Because right now Magnus need to carry and find such great moves like Bishop f4, and Firouzja kinda makes the life a bit easier for him because less pawns on the board, and when you have less material and it's already end game, if you trade many pawns, it's good for you because then some fortresses are available. And trade here, knight c5, bishop c4. Magnus tries to play from the distance because that's where bishops are good, because the knights cannot really affect them. So slowly Magnus decides to centralize the king. Firouzja defends. There is nothing terrible about knight e6 move because in general position very hard to play, but there was h5 interesting maneuver hoping for fork with knight f5. After knight e6, bishop a3 here, king e4, so white getting closer, but h5 good psychological move from Firouzja. He has 30 seconds. I don't know what Magnus was thinking. Practically speaking, it's possible from the position of power try to win by time at least, or just pressure and make your opponent force some mistake. And it's pretty simple. Even if Magnus here played g5, he would most likely win. But he plays bishop c4, which is a good move. And right now he decided to take, kind of making the pawns extremely weak, and g5 was probably winning. But the problem that Magnus was afraid, I assume, is the position like this. Right here it doesn't work, but in general there is always a danger, let's say, to receive position like this, when you have bishop pair versus knight and the pawn, or versus knight. And generally speaking, two bishops win against the knight. There is like no limit of stuff. Some positions when you have 5 or 6 pieces on the board, it calculates automatically that you win. But unless it's a mated net already, usually it takes, with the right play of both sides, up to 70 moves to win the game. If you're around mating net, you can win with the bishop pair. And that's, I guess, what Magnus was afraid of, because it's not easy to convert such advantage. But in the time trouble, it would be incredibly easy, I think. So he didn't go for it. Maybe wanted to win more, uh, I don't know, with higher percentage of confidence, so he decided to take. Dislike this move because everything says that g5 most likely will lead to the victory, and you will have protected passed pawn, bishop pair, most likely you'll win 1 or 2 knights and get absolutely winning position. Right here things get more complicated, and it's really time trouble, and you cannot imagine what this is to play without increment over the board. It starts getting messy. Right here it's like electronical clock, but when it's mechanical it's even harder because you never know how many seconds you have on your clock. And right here after bishop f6, seems like Magnus won a pawn, and he can win a piece with that by playing, let's say, king f7 in the position. And after knight f4 is the same story. The same story. He can receive position like this, which computer says that it's winning. Again, it's just a matter of fact how many moves it would take. And Magnus should have moved there. I don't understand why he didn't. He played f5 instead, go into the position where he's really low on time. Of course, he doesn't risk to lose, and if he promoted, it would be a draw. But Magnus decided to trick Alireza, trying to find some resources because black needs to play precise, white doesn't risk anything positionally speaking. And right here, like the final point of this video, of this game, what happened? Magnus slowly takes advantage. Alireza still can make a draw rotating the knight, but he plays king h5, getting in the not in time trouble, he's already there, in the Zugzwang. He cannot really move because knight has to leave or king has to leave, and then f8 will be promoted. And after knight f4, here, king here, you can see the clock, it's 1 second. Magnus probably must have played queen g5 and take the queen, but it's very hard, so he plays king e5. And what right here Alireza did is okay. I mean, I not first time see that, but it's in my opinion on the high level unspeakable. Instead of taking the queen, and actually I first saw the Facebook post in this position. And like find the best move for black, and everybody, what is it? It's so simple. It's like knight f8, what you posted right here, but I didn't know all the prehistory before that, and how much time Magnus got left. So after knight f8, it would be draw. 100%. Magnus would play it, even if he has like 0 on the clock, it would be still a draw. But Alireza, imagine that he playing probably like some bullet tournament. He plays knight h4 and dirty flag Magnus Carlsen. It's like super dirty play, and I don't know. I don't like it. You might say, okay, it's a team tournament, and like it's so good. I mean, he played for a team. You never know, and blah blah blah. But it's a fair play because I mean, how it's possible? Like Knight f8, you got outplayed. Okay, you got a draw, and you play the best player of all time, and you dirty flocking like that. It's like I don't know. Let's say in football, there are some players who, for example, after let's say somebody got injured and they continue playing even though the guy may be dying over there, or I mean his career was broken. Or let's say there was one famous football player, Luis Adriano, who after like fair play shot decided to score a goal even though nobody was moving. Uh, it's not very acceptable, morally unacceptable in my opinion. It's like again, there should be some respect. I understand like online play, do whatever you want. It's online, everybody understands the risk, flag not flag, it happens. But this is a real life. This is a player that you play one of the greatest guys, and he's very well respected, and to win in such way, I don't know what you achieve by that. Okay, they won, but who cares about this tournament? Let's be honest. Just some like tournament, team tournament. It's not world championship, nothing like that. Some commercial and stuff like that. And you know, with in such moments you can score respect, but you can sometimes get disrespect. And I doubt that many players would really say that Alireza behaved correctly, and I myself don't think that is good. Normally, when people do it, okay, I don't know, good people, good person who plays like that in chess, and he's like a perfect dude in the real life. And yeah, sometimes I understand that it's kind of there can be the situation when, for example, I mean, you're running low on time, position is unclear, and let's say, or you're losing and you like playing on time, or I mean, it's unclear and everything can happen and you can flag, but not one move away when you're in absolutely losing position, doing it intentionally. Because if the position was playable, Firouzja was losing, Magnus needed like 10 more moves to win, and it was clear, and yeah, he was like just trying to defend, not to resign. Okay, it happened, this is life. But in this position, when you know that it is a draw, you know that you can do nothing already, flagging like that, I don't think this is good. So please comment down below what you think about this game. What are your thoughts on it? Do you agree? Did Firouzja do well? Or, I mean, you think that it was also a little incorrect and disrespectful as me? And do you like the game in general? Do you like watching this event? Is it interesting? Do you like time control like that without increment? And see you next episodes. Bye.